place that most people on Earth rarely think about. Far away, on the edge of known space, there is a small human colony that was built mainly for research. Life there is quiet, predictable, and usually peaceful. The people living on this colony are used to isolation, but even then, they depend on their connection to Earth. Every few days, they send updates, research progress, supply needs, and personal messages. And in return, Earth responds with guidance and reassurance. It is a routine that gives everyone comfort, because even though they are far away, they never feel alone. Then one day, the messages from Earth stopped out at first. Nobody worries. Communications often glitch due to storms in space or technical problems. The engineers restart the systems, adjust the antennas, and tell everyone it's temporary. People go back to their work, believing everything will return to normal soon. But the hours pass, then a full day, and another. Not a single signal arrives. The silence becomes harder to ignore. The colony has a small gathering area where people meet to eat, talk, and rest. Over the next few days, this place starts to fill with quiet discussions. Some believe Earth is just dealing with a problem on their end. Others think maybe the colony's transmitter is broken, and Earth is still receiving nothing. Everyone tries to stay positive, but an unspoken fear slowly takes shape. If the transmitter is broken and Earth does not know, will anyone come to help? The colony leaders try to calm the rising tension. They reassure everyone that they still have enough supplies, that they are safe, and that communication will be restored. But even they feel something strange, inside an uneasiness that grows each time the screen refreshes with no incoming message. A colony has been out there for years, but they never expected complete silence. As more days pass, the energy around the colony changes. People become quieter. Meals feel heavier. Parents keep their children closer. Even those who pretend not to worry show signs of stress. Some start counting the remaining food. Others walk around the outer fences more often, checking for anything unusual, even though they know nothing out there should be able to reach them. The research teams still try to continue their work, but their thoughts keep drifting. Every beep from a console grabs attention. Every flicker on a monitor makes everyone turn their head. They watch the sky not because they expect something, but because they hope for anything alight, a signal, a sign that Earth hasn't forgotten them. One evening, a sudden alert breaks the silence. Everyone rushes to the communication room, thinking this might be the long-awaited message. But when they arrive, the disappointment is immediate. It isn't a message from Earth. It is the colony's internal system warning them that their last automated status update did not reach its destination. This means Earth hasn't received a single signal from them for weeks. And worse, Earth has no way of knowing that the colony is waiting, struggling, and slowly losing hope. A meeting is called. People fill the room, sitting closely, glancing at each other with uncertain expressions. The leaders explain the situation honestly. Communication is gone, and nobody knows why. They admit something that many were afraid to hear. Earth might not even realize the colony is in trouble. The only thing they can do is try again and again to re-establish contact. The atmosphere in the room gets heavier with every word. Some people stay silent, staring at the ground. Others whisper to each other, asking how long things will last. A few raise questions about supplies, safety, and shelter. The leaders give the same answer each time. They will manage, they will ration, and they will stay together. But the truth is, nobody knows how long this silence will continue. Despite the fear, the colony tries to hold on to hope. They keep routines going because routines feel safe. They continue their work, even though focus is hard to maintain. People check the communication screen multiple times a day, even though it hasn't changed in weeks. They go outside to watch the stars, telling themselves Earth is still out there, thinking of them, preparing anything. But late at night, when the colony becomes quiet and the lights dim, the doubts grow louder. Some wonder if something happened to Earth. Others think maybe the distance is too great and help will never come. Even those who are usually strong feel a growing pressure, a feeling of being completely cut off from the rest of humanity. The colony's generator room becomes a place of worry, too. The engineers start monitoring power levels much more closely. If something goes wrong with the generator, repairs would be difficult without guidance or extra parts from Earth. And if power drops, the protective shields around the colony, the shields that keep them safe from radiation and severe space weather, could weaken. Suddenly, everyday systems feel more important than ever. As the days turn into weeks, small problems start appearing. A water filter system runs slower than usual. A food storage unit malfunctions, making them transfer supplies manually. A minor structural crack is found in one of the outer walls. None of these problems are dangerous by themselves, but together they create a sense of strain. It feels like the colony is aging faster now, as if the silence is affecting the entire place. One night, a loud sound echoes through the colony. People rush out of their living quarters, startled and nervous. It turns out to be just a piece of equipment dropping from a shelf, but in the tense atmosphere, it feels like a warning. The silence is not just around them, it is inside them. 2. Tightening everything, making every sound feel like a threat. Through all this, the most painful part is the slow fading of hope. People still look at the sky, but their eyes are different now. Instead of expecting a message, they only wish for a reminder that someone cares, that someone knows they are out there, that someone will come. And then there is the unspoken fear no one wants to admit. What if Earth decided the colony was too far, too costly, or too unimportant to rescue? This thought grows like a shadow in many minds, even though they try to push it away. They tell themselves Earth would never abandon its own people. They repeat it like a prayer. But when another week passes without a single signal, even that starts to feel like a story they tell themselves just to sleep at night. Still, the colony keeps trying. Every morning, they reboot the communication machines. They clean the antennas. They test the frequencies. They send message after message. Even though none reach Earth, it becomes almost symbolic, a small act of resistance against fear. As long as they keep trying, they are not defeated. But deep inside, the truth is difficult to ignore. They are alone, completely alone, and the universe around them feels bigger and colder with each passing day. Part 1 ends with a quiet night where the colony lights flicker softly under the dark sky. People lie awake in their small rooms, listening to the hum of life support systems, hoping they continue to run smoothly. Some hold on to each other. Some stare at the ceiling. And everyone shares the same silent wish that somewhere, across the vast distance, Earth can still hear them. They don't know yet that Earth has heard more than they realize. They don't know a fleet is already moving. They don't know that help is on its way. Uneasy morning. The colony wakes up to the same silence they have been living with for weeks, but something feels different today. It is not loud, not sudden, but there is a strange atmosphere in the air. People feel it before anyone can explain it. A few notice that the sky, usually clear from their view dome, looks slightly darker along the horizon, almost like a shadow is lingering there. Others sense that the electrical systems, which usually hum at a comfortable rhythm, sound just a little more stressed. It is the kind of feeling you cannot put into words, but it sits in your chest and refuses to leave. The colony's monitoring team is the first to detect the unusual signals. The readings appear faint at first, almost like static or interference, but soon the patterns become clearer. They are not coming from the colony itself. They are coming from space far, beyond the colony's outer perimeter. It is not a message, not a known frequency, and not anything programmed in their system. It is something new, something foreign, Something approaching. An alert goes out, and the small control room fills quickly with people. Everyone stares at the screens, watching the strange signals jump, shift, and grow stronger. The team tries to analyze them, but the data makes no sense. It does not match any recognized human signature, nor any familiar phenomenon like radiation storms or asteroid reflections. Whatever it is moving. And moving in a way that suggests intelligence. At first, nobody wants to say what they're thinking. The idea of unknown ships approaching feels too frightening to speak out loud. For years, the colony believed they were alone in their region of space. They had always lived with the assumption that no other groups, human or otherwise, would ever come near them. That assumption starts to crumble now. The colony leaders gather everyone to explain what little they know. Their voices stay calm, steady, trying to keep everyone grounded. They say that the signals are not immediately dangerous, that more data is needed, and that there is no evidence of hostile intent. But people can hear the uncertainty behind their words. They can feel the tension hiding under the calm tone. The days that follow are filled with growing worry. The signals continue coming closer, becoming clearer, stronger, and more structured. The analysts try to compare them to old records, looking for anything similar, but nothing matches. Some people try to convince themselves that it must be natural, maybe a passing cluster of debris or some unknown cosmic phenomenon. But deep down, most know this is not random. The way the signals shift and adjust looks too deliberate. As the situation slowly unfolds, life inside the colony changes. People move differently, now more alert, more cautious. Parents make sure their children stay close. Workers gather in small groups, whispering to each other, wondering what the signals could mean. Meals become quieter, with people glancing at screens instead of focusing on their food. Even the youngest members of the colony can sense that something unusual is happening. The colony's security team tries to reassure everyone, even though their equipment is limited and aging. They run extra patrols around the perimeter, checking for anything unusual. They inspect the old defense towers, though they know those towers were never meant to repel real threats, only minor hazards. Still, they do what they can, because doing something, even small things, makes the fear a little easier to manage. The signals eventually become impossible to ignore. One morning, the monitoring team detects clear movement, large objects heading directly toward the colony. They can't identify the shapes yet, but the size readings alone make everyone's heart sink. Whatever is approaching is much larger than anything used on the colony, larger than their transport ships, larger than their scanners have recorded before. A message goes out for everyone to remain calm, but the fear spreads faster than reassurance. People gather near the large observatory windows, staring at the dark sky and waiting for any sign of light or movement. Some stand alone, lost in thought. Others hold hands, trying to comfort one another. A quiet fear hangs over everyone, a fear that feels heavy, but also strangely unreal. They've spent years living in peace, and now something unknown is creeping toward them. As the objects come closer, some people begin to ask the hardest questions. What if these are not friendly? What if they are not human at all? What if the colony is too small to matter, too weak to defend itself? The more these questions spread, the more people feel helpless. They do not have advanced weapons. They do not have strong shields. They do not have fast ships to escape. They have only themselves, their hope, and the thin shell of technology protecting their lives. One night, while most people are trying to sleep, the sky above the colony flashes for the first time. It is faint, barely noticeable, but enough to wake up those who had not yet fallen asleep. The flash is followed by a low, distant rumble that vibrates through the walls. People rush outside, staring upward in confusion. For the first time, they see something. A dim light moving across the upper sky, slow and steady. It disappears after a few seconds, leaving even more questions behind. The next morning, the colony receives the clearest signal so far. It is a repeating pattern, consistent and controlled. The analysts still cannot translate it, but it is no longer random. Whatever is out there is deliberately broadcasting something. The message does not resemble a human call for help, nor a navigation beacon, nor any known distress pattern. It sounds more like a probe, a test, a scan, like something trying to understand what the colony is. Panic grows despite efforts to keep people calm. The colony leaders organize a meeting in the main hall, trying to maintain a sense of unity. They speak honestly, explaining that the incoming signals are unfamiliar but not immediately harmful. They emphasize the importance of staying together, following instructions, and not jumping to conclusions. But no matter how carefully they speak, everyone senses the same thing. The leaders are worried too. In the following days, scanners confirm what many feared: the objects are ships. Large ones. At least a dozen. They move slowly but steadily toward the colony, as if studying it from different angles. The readings show sharp outlines, complex structures, and energy patterns never recorded before. The entire colony becomes a mixture of fear, confusion, and disbelief. Some people stand in silence, staring at the screens, as if hoping the readings would magically disappear. Others ask questions the leaders cannot answer. Why are the ships approaching? What do they want? Do they know humans live here? Are they curious, or are they planning something? The colony's oldest scanners begin to overload from the constant tracking. Engineers work nonstop, trying to keep the system stable. They open panels, repair circuits, and manually cool overheated parts. The stress on their faces becomes visible. They know that if the scanners fail, the colony will be completely blind to whatever is outside as the ships come closer. The outer lights of the colony are dimmed to conserve power and avoid drawing attention. People walk through darker hallways, guided by emergency lighting. The mood of the colony becomes heavier, almost like the entire place is holding its breath. Every sound echoes a little more in the quiet spaces. Every moment feels longer. Then comes the moment nobody can forget. The first image appears on the main screen, blurry at first, then slowly sharpening as the scanners adjust. They all see the silhouette of one of the ships. It is massive, with long structures stretching like arms and curved shapes that do not resemble anything human-made. Its surface seems to shift slightly, as if either reflective or alive with energy. There are no windows, no visible markings, nothing that gives away intention or origin. But its presence alone is enough to send a chill through the entire room. People stare in silence, unable to look away. Some feel their knees weaken. Others feel their heartbeat pounding so strongly that it hurts. Nobody speaks because nobody knows what to say. The ships stop at a distance, almost as if observing from afar. The colony remains still, like a small, fragile island facing an incoming tide. The fear settles deeper now, because the people realize something undeniable. The colony's outdated defenses cannot stop ships like these. If the visitors want to come closer, they will. If they want to enter, they can. If they want to take control, there is nothing the colony can do. The leaders decide to send one final broadcast, a plea, simple and human, asking for peace, understanding, and time. They hope whoever is out there can interpret emotion, even if they cannot interpret words. The message is sent multiple times, repeated in different tones and frequencies. After sending it, there is nothing left to do but wait. And waiting becomes the hardest part. Every passing hour feels like a test of courage. People gather in small groups, whispering their fears, trying to stay strong. Some sit close to each other in silence, sharing comfort without speaking. Others pace back and forth, unable to stay still. A few simply stare at the sky, hoping for a sign that things will improve. The unknown ships remain in place, silent and unmoving. But their presence alone feels like pressure on the colony's chest. The people do not know if help will come. They do not know if Earth ever received their desperate signals. They do not know what awaits them in the hours to come. But deep inside, beneath the fear and uncertainty, the colony still holds on to a fragile belief that Earth has not forgotten them, that someone, somewhere, is on their way. Morning that feels heavier than usual. The colony wakes up under a sky that seems darker, even though the weather hasn't changed. People walk slowly through the halls, their faces showing the strain of worry that has been building for weeks. Everyone knows the unknown ships are still out there. Everyone knows they are getting closer. And nobody knows what will happen next. Inside the control room, the atmosphere is tense. The team watches the screens closely, tracking the positions of the unknown ships. The shapes are still far enough to not be directly threatening, but they remain too close for comfort. The signals the ships send are still unrecognizable. The patterns keep shifting, almost like they are adjusting, studying, learning. But the colony doesn't know what they are trying to understand. The engineers have stayed awake most of the night, checking systems again and again. They fix cables, tighten connections, and monitor power levels. The protective shields around the colony are still functioning, but everyone knows they were designed for natural dangers, not for ships of unknown origin. People trust the engineers, but even the strongest reassurance cannot stop fear from growing outside. The colony feels strangely quiet. The wind moves gently, brushing against the metallic walls of the outpost. Usually, this kind of quiet is comforting. But today, it feels different. It feels like the calm before something big, something no one is ready for. During the early hours, a small group gathers in the main hall. Some sit close together, holding warm cups of water or tea just to feel something steady. Others lean against the walls, staring silently into space. It doesn't matter what they try to distract themselves with: books, screens, conversations. Nobody can truly focus. Their minds keep returning to the same fear. What if those ships move closer today? What if the colony is confronted directly? What if Earth never receives their signals? As the hours pass, the unknown ships finally make their first deliberate move. One of the ships shifts position, slowly drifting toward the colony. It is not fast, not aggressive, but the movement feels intentional. The scanners pick it up instantly, and the alarm lights flash a low red glow. The colony's announcement system tells everyone to remain calm, but calmness is hard to hold on to when something massive is approaching. People rush to observatory windows, staring through the thick glass. At first, they see nothing. Then, gradually, a faint glimmer appears in the sky. A shape, a shadow, something enormous reflecting light from a distant star. It is still far, but close enough that its outline can be seen more clearly than before. It looks nothing like human engineering. Its curves are smooth and strange, its surface almost changing colors as it moves. Parents hold their children close, trying to help them stay brave. Older residents stay near the back, whispering to themselves. Some of the younger ones stand frozen in place, unable to look away. Everyone feels the same mix of fear and disbelief. Seeing something with their own eyes, not just on a scanner, makes the situation suddenly feel real in a way that data never could. In the control room, the leadership team tries to make quick decisions. They know they cannot attack. They know they cannot escape. The colony's supply ships are slow and small. Even if they tried to leave, they would never outrun ships that large. So the leaders decide to continue sending peaceful broadcasts. They switch to new frequencies, hoping at least one of them might reach whatever intelligence is behind the approaching vessels. Throughout the day, the colony sends message after message introductions. Peaceful statements, requests for understanding. They use calm voices and steady words, hoping emotion can cross the gap where language cannot. And yet, there is no response. The unknown ships remain silent, giving no sign of understanding or intention. As the sun sets, the sky turns a deep shade of purple. The colony dims its outer lights as planned, conserving power and reducing visibility. Inside, small lamps glow softly, casting warm patches of light across worried faces. People gather near windows again, hoping the darkness will hide the ships from sight, but the opposite happens. The approaching vessel becomes even more visible. It looks like a shadow moving through the stars, growing larger little by little. The fear pushes some people toward the communication center, where they ask the same questions again and again. Has Earth responded? Has any message gone through? Has anyone heard even a faint signal? The communication team checks every channel, every log, every device. Nothing. The screens remain empty, silent and cold. Meanwhile, the food storage teams begin organizing supplies. They count everything carefully, making sure the colony has enough for the days ahead, no matter what happens. They sort items, pack emergency kits, and label essentials. Everyone works quickly, trying to keep their minds focused on tasks rather than fear. Deep in the night, a sudden sound shakes the colony. Not loud, but strong enough to make everyone pause. It feels like a soft vibration moving through the floor. People look around, startled. Some run outside to check. The sky remains still, except for the faint shape of the unknown ship holding position above them. The vibration returns a long, slow pulse, almost like a wave traveling through space. The scanners detect it immediately. It is not a weapon, not a strike. It is something else. A form of scanning, perhaps. A way of gathering information. The colony stands completely quiet, listening to the slow rhythm echoing through the air. A group of technicians rush to the main console, studying the patterns. They confirm the pulse is coming from the ship. They cannot understand its purpose, but they know it is directed at the colony. It is not aggressive, but it is unmistakably intentional. People stare at each other, realizing something important. The ship is not ignoring them. It is studying them. The idea sends a chill through everyone. Being observed makes them feel small and exposed, like every wall and system is being examined. Nobody knows if the ship is trying to understand their defenses, their energy levels, or simply the life signs inside the colony. The leadership team sends another peaceful broadcast, hoping their intentions are clear, but still nothing comes in return. As the night continues, the pulse stops as suddenly as it began. The sky becomes quiet again, but nobody sleeps. Not the security team, not the families in their small rooms, not the engineers monitoring the power lines. Every person feels the weight of uncertainty pressing down on them. In the early hours before dawn, the colony detects something new. The other ships, the ones that had stayed at a distance, begin adjusting their positions. They spread out across the sky, forming a loose circle around the colony. The formation is slow, smooth, and extremely precise. It is not the kind of movement that suggests an attack, but neither does it look harmless. It looks like coordination, organization, something intelligent preparing for something. People watch from the observatory, whispering their thoughts in shaky voices. Some say the ships might be preparing to communicate. Others fear the worst, that the colony is being surrounded. Inside the control room, tension feels like a physical force. The leadership team tries to keep their voices steady as they send new broadcasts. They add videos with peaceful gestures, simple hand movements, and calm sounds that humans often use when trying to show they mean no harm. Nothing seems to reach the ship's dot just before sunrise. The colony experiences the most frightening moment yet. One of the unknown ships emits a bright flash, not loud, not damaging, but extremely bright. The light fills the sky for a moment, illuminating the ground below. People cover their eyes, startled and scared. The light fades quickly, leaving the colony bathed in a pale glow from the rising sun. Nobody knows if the flash was a signal, a scan, or something completely different. The scanners pick up a new kind of energy in the air, something unfamiliar but stable. The technicians analyze it, but the meaning remains unclear. The colony waits, hearts pounding, expecting something more to happen. But nothing happens immediately. The ships remain silent. The sky remains calm. And the colony remains suspended in a moment that feels both completely still and unbearably tense. People begin to accept something quietly, something they hadn't wanted to admit. This situation is no longer just about communication. This is about survival. Something is happening out there that they cannot understand or control, and they are stuck in the middle of it, with nowhere to run and no way to defend themselves. Toward the end of the day, the leadership team gathers once again to make a difficult decision. They decide to send one final desperate broadcast. Not a long message, not a complex explanation, just a simple plea from the heart. A message of peace, a message of fear, a message of hope. That they send it in multiple languages. They send it with images, with soft tones, with universal symbols that humans use to represent peace. When the broadcast ends, the room becomes quiet. There is nothing more they can do. They have tried every frequency, every method, every gesture they know. Now, they can only wait. As the sun sets again, the colony feels like it is holding its breath. People gather with their families, holding on to the comfort of human presence. Some sit near the windows, watching the ships in the sky. Others stay in the hallways, waiting for updates. Everyone feels the same thing. The next movement from the ships could define everything. The night grows darker. The sky deepens. The unknown fleet hangs silently above the colony, like watchers who refuse to speak. With a quiet tension that grips the colony more tightly than ever, the unknown ships remain in the sky, forming a circle around the settlement. Every light on the horizon, every faint shadow in space makes the people flinch. Days and nights have passed without any direct communication, and the sense of isolation feels heavier than ever. Families huddle together in small living quarters. Workers pace through the hallways, checking systems again and again. Engineers sit at consoles, staring at screens that show no movement except for the slow drifting of massive unknown ships. The colony feels trapped in a cage built from silence and fear. Then, without warning, the sky shifts. A new energy appears on the sensors, one the colony has never experienced. The monitors flash a bright green light, followed by long streaks of movement that ripple across space. The unknown fleet does not move violently, but there is a sudden change in posture. It is as if the ships themselves recognize something. The colony staff freeze, exchanging uncertain glances, trying to understand what is happening. Suddenly, massive shapes appear on the long-range scanners. These shapes are unlike anything the colony has seen before. They are not small transport vessels. They are not exploratory drones. They are massive human-built ships, sleek and powerful, appearing out of nowhere in space. At first, the team believes it is a misread. Could it be a sensor glitch? Could it be a hallucination caused by stress and fear? But the readings confirm it. Earth's fleet has arrived. The news spreads quickly through the colony. Alarms are silenced and replaced with stunned whispers. People rush to windows, some crying, others laughing in disbelief. The ships move in perfect formation, filling the sky with immense structures that dwarf the colony's own buildings. They shine under distant stars, reflecting light in ways that make the colonists gasp. Even those who have spent their lives in space cannot hide their awe. These ships are not just powerful. They are extraordinary. The unknown fleet reacts immediately. The ships that once circled the colony, testing and studying, now pause. They shift slightly, as if confused or cautious. The sensors detect energy signatures rising from the human fleet, a controlled but unmistakable display of strength. The colony watches in amazement as the sky, once oppressive and threatening, suddenly feels alive with possibility. The human fleet does not fire weapons. There are no destructive actions. There is only presence, a clear statement that whoever is observing the colony is now being observed in return. The unknown ships hesitate, their movements becoming slower, more deliberate. Every colonist feels a strange combination of relief and tension. The fleet's arrival is both a shield and a warning. The message is clear. Earth will protect its people, but the situation must still be approached with care. Inside the control room, the colony leaders are speechless for a moment. They gather everyone near the observation windows, not to work, but to watch. Families press together, whispering soft words to calm children who cannot understand the magnitude of what is unfolding. Engineers stop working on minor repairs, staring at the massive ships that now dominate the sky. Even the security team lowers their weapons, realizing the danger has shifted away from them and toward the unknown fleet. The human fleet begins to move in a deliberate pattern, surrounding the colony without touching it. Their formations are precise, almost artistic, and their presence radiates power without aggression. The colonists notice something extraordinary. The ships are not just machines. They feel almost alive, their movements flowing smoothly, as if every vessel is aware of the others, and aware of the colony below. The unknown fleet responds, pulling back slightly, maintaining distance while continuing to scan and observe. Some colonists feel fear fade for the first time in weeks. Others feel a new fear emerge. What if the unknown ships retaliate, now aware of Earth's power? But the human fleet does not act aggressively. It simply stands as a shield, a promise of protection that cannot be ignored. The colony begins to breathe collectively, the tension slowly easing as people realize that they are no longer alone. Across the settlement, people gather in open areas, watching the sky in awe. Some whisper prayers, not just for safety, but in gratitude for the arrival of help. Others hug strangers, overwhelmed by relief. Even the children, who have been frightened for so long, point toward the massive vessels, their eyes wide with wonder. There is a sense of unity that had been absent for weeks. The entire colony now shares the same feeling. They are not forgotten. The unknown fleet continues to hover at a distance. The ship's energy signatures remain active, scanning and observing, but now with caution. The human fleet does not chase, does not attack, does not signal hostility. It simply exists as a presence, an undeniable display of strength. The colonists realize something profound. Earth has kept its promise. They have always known humanity can be powerful, but to see it so close, so real, so alive, is overwhelming. Inside the observation rooms, engineers begin analyzing the fleet's structure and movements. They take notes, compare readings, and discuss the implications quietly. Even in this moment of relief, human curiosity persists. The colonists understand the scale of what has arrived. These ships are equipped for war, yes, but more importantly, they are built to protect. They carry supplies, technology, and intelligence far beyond what the colony could imagine. And yet, they have come not to punish, but to defend. Outside, the unknown fleet seems to retreat slightly, as if acknowledging a new balance. The sky feels different, now not oppressive, not threatening, but tense and charged. Every colonist senses the shift. The unknown ships are intelligent, powerful, and curious. They could attack at any moment, but they hesitate, recognizing the overwhelming power of the human fleet. The message is unmistakable. Earth will not abandon its own. For hours, the sky remains in this delicate balance. The colony, for the first time in weeks, begins to relax. People sit near the windows, whispering quietly, savoring each moment of safety. Children run through hallways, laughing softly for the first time since the unknown ships appeared. Families gather to share meals, their conversations filled with relief and disbelief. Even the quietest members of the colony smile, overwhelmed by the sight above them. As night falls, the human fleet shifts slightly, repositioning to form a protective perimeter around the colony. The ships glow softly under distant starlight, their presence calming yet commanding. The unknown fleet retreats further, maintaining observation, but no longer advancing. For the first time, the colony feels a sense of control returning. They are no longer at the mercy of the unknown. They are now under the watchful protection of Earth's most powerful fleet. People begin to share stories quietly, recounting days of fear and uncertainty. They speak of long nights spent staring at empty communication channels, of meals eaten in silence, of the growing dread that nobody was coming. They recount how they feared the worst, imagining the colony alone and helpless in the vastness of space. And now, looking at the fleet above them, they cannot believe the transformation. What once seemed hopeless is now filled with awe and gratitude. The leadership team addresses the colony one last time that night. Their voices are steady but emotional, explaining that help has arrived, that Earth has never forgotten them, and that the unknown ships will not harm them as long as peace is maintained. They remind everyone to remain vigilant, but to take comfort in the presence of protection. People listen in silence, absorbing the reassurance, feeling hope for the first time in weeks. As the colony sleeps that night, the human fleet maintains its vigil. Ships glide silently through the sky, scanning, positioning, and guarding. Every colonist knows they are safe for now, but they also understand the balance is delicate. The unknown fleet continues to hover, observing from a distance, curious but cautious. The message is clear. The universe has witnessed something unexpected, and humanity's power has shifted the balance. For the first time in many nights, the colony does not wake to fear. They wake to a sky filled with strength, protection, and possibility. They wake knowing that someone powerful is watching over them. And they wake knowing that no matter what comes next, they are no longer alone. The moment stretches into the early morning hours, a quiet but profound reassurance. The colony begins to plan for the future, not just to survive, but to thrive under the protection and guidance of Earth. They begin to understand the scale of what has arrived, the promise of technology, and the reality that humanity can defend itself against the unknown. The unknown ships are still there, still observing, but they no longer dominate the colony's fear. The colonists look to the stars, realizing that help can arrive when it matters most. They have seen the most powerful fleet in human history appear at the right time. And they know that hope is not just a dream, it is real, alive, and standing guard above them. For the first time in weeks, the colony sleeps peacefully, the unknown fleet still in the distance, the human fleet forming a protective ring, and the people finally believing that they will survive. The balance has shifted, the fear has lessened, and the universe seems to acknowledge that Earth will not abandon its own. Sense of calm that the colony has not felt in weeks. The human fleet continues to hover above, their massive ships forming a protective ring that makes the people below feel safe for the first time. Even though the unknown fleet remains at a distance, it no longer feels threatening. The balance of power has shifted, and the colony begins to breathe easier. Children run through the corridors, laughing softly, while families gather near windows to watch the massive vessels gliding in formation. People speak in low tones, sharing quiet words of relief, their voices filled with awe. For the first time since the unknown ships arrived, the colony can think about tomorrow without fear. Engineers begin reviewing the systems that had been stressed by weeks of tension. They check power lines, repair minor faults, and make sure the protective shields remain fully functional. Workers go through supplies, counting food, water, and medical provisions, ensuring everything is ready for whatever comes next. Even small tasks feel comforting now, a way to bring normality back to a place that had been dominated by uncertainty. The colony leaders hold a meeting in the main hall, bringing together every department. They speak of safety, recovery, and the arrival of the human fleet. Their words are calm but firm, designed to reassure everyone that Earth has never forgotten them. The leaders explain that the fleet's presence is a statement. Humanity stands together, even across the vast reaches of space. The colony listens intently, understanding for the first time that they are not alone, that powerful forces from home are watching over them, and that their lives are no longer in immediate danger. Outside, the human fleet begins to move closer to the colony, not in aggression, but in preparation for resupply and support. Massive cargo ships descend carefully, delivering essential supplies, food, water, medical kits, spare parts, and new equipment to repair and improve the colony's infrastructure. The colonists watch in amazement as enormous vessels lower smaller transport ships toward the surface, each one moving with precision and care. Every delivery feels like a tangible reminder that Earth has arrived for them. The unknown fleet, meanwhile, continues to observe from a distance, its movements cautious and slow. The colony notices subtle changes in their formation. They are no longer advancing aggressively, but maintaining a respectful perimeter. It becomes clear to everyone that the unknown ships recognize the strength and presence of the human fleet, and they are weighing their next actions carefully. The tension that had gripped the colony for weeks slowly begins to fade, replaced by curiosity and cautious optimism. As supplies arrive, the colony begins to rebuild. Teams work together to repair damaged systems, replace worn-out equipment, and improve defenses. Engineers collaborate with the human fleet's specialists, learning new techniques and gaining knowledge that will allow the colony to thrive for years to come. People who had been afraid to leave their quarters now move freely, helping each other unload cargo, organize resources, and clean up spaces that had been neglected during the long weeks of fear. There is a renewed sense of purpose, a feeling that life can continue and even flourish. After the terror they had endured, the human fleet also brings medical teams, who check on every colonist, ensuring that both physical and mental health are attended to. Families who had been anxious for days are reassured that no harm has come to them, that the unknown fleet poses no immediate danger, and that the human fleet is committed to their protection. Children, who had been frightened and restless, are given small spaces to play and learn, slowly restoring a sense of normalcy to the colony. As the days pass, communication systems are repaired and upgraded with equipment supplied by the human fleet. The colony can finally send messages to Earth without fear of them being lost. Every broadcast that reaches home carries not just updates, but gratitude and relief. The colonists realize that the isolation they had feared was temporary, and that Earth's commitment to its people is real and unwavering. The silence that had haunted them for weeks is replaced by a network of voices, guidance, and reassurance. The unknown fleet continues to linger in the outer regions, still observing, but no longer aggressively. The colonists have learned to watch them with curiosity instead of fear. Engineers and scientists study their movements, taking careful notes and analyzing their patterns. They are cautious, aware that the unknown ships could act unpredictably, but they are no longer paralyzed by anxiety. Knowledge and understanding begin to replace fear. Over time, the colony starts to rebuild not just physically, but socially. Families gather together, friends talk freely without the shadow of dread, and communities that had been isolated by fear now come together in cooperation and mutual support. People share stories of the dark weeks they endured, of the sleepless nights, and of the hope that had kept them going. These stories are told and retold, a testament to their resilience and a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming uncertainty, they survived. The human fleet remains above, a constant presence and a symbol of safety. Their ships move with grace and precision, scanning, observing, and ensuring that no threat reaches the colony. Colonists begin to understand that they are part of something larger, a human network that stretches across space, capable of protecting even the most distant outposts. It is a lesson in patience, courage, and trust. As weeks turn into months, the colony begins to expand and improve. New structures are built with materials supplied by the fleet. Energy systems are upgraded, making the settlement more sustainable and resilient. The people work with renewed purpose, knowing that the hardships of the past have taught them valuable lessons. They understand the importance of readiness, the value of unity, and the power of hope. The unknown fleet gradually retreats farther into space, maintaining observation, but showing no signs of aggression. The colony begins to view them with cautious respect rather than fear. Scientists continue to study their movements, learning about their technology and intelligence. The human fleet remains vigilant, ensuring that the colony is always protected while giving them space to rebuild and flourish. Families, children, and workers who had been trapped by fear now move with confidence. Daily routines resume, but with a new awareness of the vastness and unpredictability of space. Every day becomes a lesson in resilience. People celebrate small victories, repairs completed, crops growing, children playing safely, communication restored. The colony begins to feel alive again, stronger than before. United by the shared experience of surviving uncertainty, the human fleet eventually prepares to depart, having ensured that the colony is stable and secure. Their departure is calm and organized. They leave behind supplies, knowledge, and reassurance, a lasting reminder of Earth's commitment. The colonists watch from the observation windows as the massive ships glide away, leaving the unknown fleet at a respectful distance. The sky, once dark with fear, is now filled with the quiet promise of safety and possibility. Even after the fleet leaves, the lessons of the experience remain. The colony understands that they are never truly alone, that the universe is vast and full of unknowns, and that humanity has the strength to protect itself. People work together with renewed respect for each other and for the fragile life they share. They continue to monitor the unknown fleet, learning from it, and preparing for a future that is now full of potential rather than feared out at night. The colony gathers to watch the stars, reflecting on the weeks of tension, fear, and uncertainty. They remember the long nights of silence, the pulses of scanning from unknown ships, and the overwhelming feeling of being completely alone. They also remember the arrival of Earth's fleet, the powerful, awe-inspiring presence that changed everything. Children fall asleep under windows that show the sky, feeling safe for the first time in months. Adults smile quietly, feeling the weight of relief settle in their hearts. The colony celebrates quietly, not with loud fanfare, but with deep gratitude. People share food, stories, and laughter. Families huddle together, knowing that their survival was not just a matter of luck, but of courage, perseverance, and the unseen support of those who had come to protect them. The unknown fleet remains distant, a reminder that space is vast and full of mysteries, but the colony no longer fears it. They have learned to face uncertainty with patience, hope, and unity. As the sun rises the next day, the colony feels reborn. Work continues, children play, and engineers repair and improve systems. The settlement is stronger, safer, and more united than ever before. People understand that even when hope seems lost, help can arrive. They have experienced fear, isolation, and uncertainty, but they have also witnessed courage, protection, and resilience. The story ends with the colony standing proud under the sky. The unknown fleet remains distant but peaceful. Earth's fleet is gone, but its presence is still felt in every repaired system, every restored supply, and every heart filled with hope. The colony is no longer a forgotten outpost. It is a thriving community, resilient and united, ready to face whatever the universe may bring. The final message is clear. Humanity protects its own. And even in the darkest moments, hope can arrive when it is needed the most. The colony has survived. They have learned. And they are stronger than ever before.